This is the Bible Touchstone. In this video series, I'm dealing with full preterism and how it relates to church history. And one of the questions a lot of people have with full preterism is, why has the church been silent for over 2,000 years on the fulfillment of the parousia, or why, if Christ has already appeared and risen us and glorified us in his resurrection, then how come no Christian believer has ever written about these things? Why is there no early writings about this? So I wanted to give an example of an early Christian writer who wrote about fulfillment of these eschatological things. In Eusebius, it says that a man can study all the details of the entire war, that is, the wars of the Jews, and how the end of the abomination of desolation, and this is a fulfillment of Matthew chapter 24 and Mark chapter 13, which cite Daniel chapter 9 and 12, and it says, declared by the prophets, was set up in the very temple of God, celebrated of old, when it was utterly destroyed by fire. Now, Eusebius has this to say on Jesus' prediction of those events. It says, such was the reward for the guilt and impiety of the Jews against the Christ of God, for it is worth appending to it the infallible prediction of our Savior regarding these very things in his prophecy. Woe to those who are pregnant and to those who are nursing infants in those days. Pray that your flight may not be in winter or on the Sabbath. For at that time there will be a great suffering, such as has not been seen since the beginning of the world until now, no, and never will be. And that's Matthew chapter 24, verses 19 and 21. Now, here Eusebius is saying that was realized in the first century, and he associates it with the first century war, or the rebellion of the Jews and the seizure and capture of Jerusalem in the first century. And it says, in estimating the total number of lives lost, the historian, that is Josephus, says that 1.1 million died by famine and the sword, that the partisans and terrorists informed each other after the city's capture and were executed, that in the tallest and handsomest of the youths were saved for the triumphal parade. Of the rest, those over 17 were sent as prisoners to hard labors in Egypt, and even the more were divided among the provinces to be killed in the theaters by sword or wild beasts. Those under 17 were sold into slavery, and the number of those alone was 90,000. This all happened in the second year of Vespasian's reign in AD 70, according with the prophecies of Christ, who foresaw them by divine power, as if already present and wept over them. The holy evangelist adds that his Christ actual words to Jerusalem herself. He says, and if you see even today would recognize those things, make for peace. But now they are hidden from your eyes. Indeed, the days will come when you and your enemies will set up ramparts around you and will surround you and hem you on every side. They will crush you to the ground and your children within you. That's Luke chapter 19, verse 42 to 44. On the other occasion, he said, for there will be great distress on the earth and wrath against this people. They will fall by the edge of the sword and be taken away as captives among all nations, and Jerusalem will be trampled on by the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles are fulfilled. That's Luke chapter 21, verses 23 and 24. And again, when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, you know that its desolation has come near. That's verse 20. Does anyone comparing our Savior's words with the rest of this historian's record of the war cannot fail to be astonished or to confess the divine character of our Savior's prediction. So he is associating the Olivet discourse of Christ that he gives to his apostles in a private discourse on his second coming, or on the end of the age and the destruction of the temple. And that's all associated with the events of the first century. And the writer Eusebius, who was around in the 3rd century, wrote of those things as being fulfilled already. As always, grace be to you.